Now that I got your attention with that adorable little puppy that I will be picking up on Saturday, I wanted to share with you some preliminary survey results in South Carolina from the Climate Cost Project's Impact Census, and then, of course, ask you for your support. I'm Lori Johnson, the project's co-founder. We're working directly with communities that have been impacted by climate change to survey their flooding costs for individuals and families. This data is important because we have currently no real idea how much climate change costs. And this affects our ability as a country to understand the scope of the problem, and it affects communities' abilities to actually plan for resilience. The results show that these costs are significant and varied. In just 3 years, 3 record hurricanes battered the residents of Horry, South Carolina. 17% of households responding to our survey in Horry County lost the equivalent of an entire year's income every year. Why so much? Because we're counting everything like uninsured losses, missed work, healthcare costs, and many other losses missing from official data. These losses are shocking, but money can't tell you everything about impacts. Many suffered new or worsened chronic illnesses, both physical and mental. 10% reported a permanent physical injury. 1/3 a new mental health problem. 27% are considering or have already left the county due to the fear and stress of flooding. Many spoke about the difficulty they faced getting help. Living in a warehouse is really hard, losing everything 2 times. The Climate Cost Project provides pro bono economic analysis of the community surveys, and local advocates use the data and analysis to raise awareness and push their local officials to develop better planning practices. For example, many developers are stuck in old patterns of paving over landed areas that should be absorbing flooding waters. Even worse, they're doing this in areas that are already flooding, and it's happening in a surprising number of communities. Impact census data allows advocates to demonstrate individual and personal costs of allowing for poor planning like this, and helps emphasize the reality of climate change to their neighbors and puts pressure on local officials to start adopting solutions that will instead reduce flooding impacts, like restoring wetlands that act as natural flood barriers and not developing in flooding areas in the first place. By 2020, we aim to get impact census data for 10 diverse communities along the East and Gulf coasts. This will be helpful not just for local planning, but will also give us a better understanding of what flooding impacts look like at a national scale, and help advocates at the federal level benefit from the impact census data as well. Of course, it takes time and money to get this data. We have to research flooded areas, get the word out about the survey, engage citizens. We have to make sure we get a representative sample of the community. We have to design, print, and mail out thousands of postcards. We have to pay for FOIA requests to get residential data and city data on flooded areas. Surveying a single community costs $2,000 to $3,000 in material costs alone. We're aiming by the end of this year for $10,000 to help cover some of these costs. Your dollars will go a long way in helping make this happen, so if you can, please make a contribution. Please?